Welcome to the Maritime Startup Ecosystem Interviews, a series we created to give even more exposure to startups from the Maritime Startup Ecosystem Network. Today, I'm here with Nicolai Rahn of Flenzies. Flenzies offers a global digital accelerator for business development within the maritime and transportation industry, using matching algorithms like kind of Tinder. So, but I think that now Nicolai will be able to explain us better about this thing. Welcome, Nicolai. Hello.
Thank you very much, Leonardo. Appreciate it. Yeah, to just briefly introduce myself, my name is Nicolai. I'm from Copenhagen, 21 years of age, rather tender age for the supply chain industry, but I assure you that naivety is one of my strongest qualities, especially as I want to solve a lot of the problems, as I'm sure there's no shortage of, especially within the startup world. Yeah. So just to briefly explain how we came about this idea.
Sure.
It was actually, we thought about what was an idea that we want someone else to solve for us. So that's going out there and getting your foot into the door, especially as a startup, to many of these established companies who glance over a pitch email, and one times out of 10 you might get a hit rate. So instead, much akin to my generation's attention span, we have a very kind of succinct and punchy and relevant opportunity that gets fed out through our opportunity pipeline and matches you with relevant partners. So it's instantly relevant and pops up in your email inbox to generate some tangible business, as opposed to manually going through this arduous process of reaching out to leads, which is only really an effort you should exert while dating. It's probably not a foxy lady on the other side either. So we tried when you're doing business, so we try to catalyze this process in a very efficient way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super interesting, and actually I like this idea that really well, unfortunately I say your generation. I wish I could say our generation, but you're not so old, or I'm not so young, but really your generation has a different attitude and approach to creating a network and to getting in touch with people. And it is a way of working that is so much more efficient than what it used to be in the past, where really you need to knock at doors, because there was no internet. The internet was, okay, my shoes, and I walk and I go to your door and I knock. And that was but the internet, the trams and trains, that was before I also for me it's all stuff this. But anyway, so now it's different. The thing is that our industry is really, really anchored in the past. And they well, I would say we as an industry really struggle to get used and to use the new technologies. So it's great that we as startups, as digital startups, do whatever we can to push new technology to an existing, very old-fashioned industry, by bringing additional value, by showing them that, look, this is so much more efficient. So much more efficient. The deal comes to your door, actually to your virtual door, which is even better. It's to your email. So absolutely, and actually, I would say that we are in the same space. We in the past we started talking how we can collaborate, and I guess that this could be an opportunity to start again talking about this. But anyway, this is our stuff for the moment. Let's focus on Flenzies. So how is the business going right now? Do you have already clients, I guess, and registered users? How does it work? How many users do you have?
So we have over 1,500 users now, actually, over 103 countries, globally represented decision makers. But I think, as you said, I think it's so important now to double down on innovation now more
Yeah,
than ever, because there's these massive digital divides within the industry,
absolutely.
and we've really experienced that. We have to galvanize this, and bridge these divides, because there's just so much innovative technology out there from startups. And now, as you say, I think that this will be the bullet grazed past our heads, and people are now open to change. So I think this really transcends generations now, because people are warming up to the idea of change. So a lot of what we've done actually is we've been trying, we've been working with startups and seeing their innovative technologies, and we've been working on getting their foot in the door of these more established companies, using our personal network, but also using this matchmaking algorithm to, in a real-time way, to field interest immediately, and both get a cooperation going, get them invested in startups so they have some skin in the game to enhance this cooperation, which we think is so important, because it's effectively a fog of war we're operating in right now. Everyone is fending for themselves, for their own hectic challenges in their daily business. But I think the way through all of this will be through collaboration, drawing on each other's strengths.
Yep.
And potentially also pursuing strategic partnerships between startups to ensure we weather this storm together.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that this must be clear, and we should say it clearly. You connect startups to the industry. If from what I understand from what you're saying, or it's business deals for startups, or it's business deals for whatever type of business deal that could happen in the industry.
Absolutely. So we actually have a variety of different, opportunities. I suppose the potential is in the eye of the beholder, you could say. With also focusing on cargo opportunities, cargo abandonment, if you have any challenges, if your company is a trusted agent in Shanghai or the Bahamas, for example. But we've really decided to sort of orient ourselves and reassess what we're doing as a startup, because these are dynamic times, and the situation is changing every day. And we've noticed that the time we should really be trying to accelerate the digital agenda, because the industry is in so desperate need of it. So we've sort of undergone a somewhat pivot to try and accelerate this and facilitate some of this innovation and bridge these gaps, as we have a wide network of freight forwarders and other old timers in the industry. So that's certainly something that we've focused on in the recent weeks, is bridging that gap from startups to these companies.
Yeah. But so do you feel that there is demand from these companies for innovation coming from startups, or there is more like a push from the startups? Because of course startups want to find customers, but do the customers are really attracting and interested to get to talk to these different innovators, these crazy innovators like startups? Are they open to it? How does it work? Do they really listen to? Do they register because they want just to look around, or they register because, wow, this is an opportunity, I want really to see all these great innovations that are out there?
Absolutely. I think there's actually been quite a lot of traction and realization that digitalization is now on the agenda. Not only that, but it's previously kind of these disincentives to foster these protected environments where you don't share data. They've now been sort of flipped on their head, and now we see that many companies are openly sharing their data and trying to increase visibility of their operations. And we see that there's a lot of startups that can provide this in an excellent way. Having said this, there's still a lot of resistance. I think that innovation has somewhat suffered and gotten on the back burner because people are so occupied with the daily challenges. So it's still very much a very tangible challenge within the industry, is to open the doors and get people to realize that there is this, massive potential innovation to be deployed to help their businesses. But of course, it certainly we feel like things are changing now. We're working on that.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, because it's like having a network. I think that we created the Startup World Network, the Maritime Startup Ecosystem, 3 years ago almost. And I think the most difficult thing is not much having the contacts, but it's having a model where there is really action going on. Because without action, there's no point. I mean, you register to a network, okay, that's fine, but nothing happens. And so do you have many deals, like active deals that happen on the platform? Because like 1,500 registered users are, I imagine, both the clients but also the startups, include all of them. So what's the ratio between these two? How many startups and how many like clients? Or the ratio, if not the numbers.
Absolutely. So I'd definitely say that the ratio is very much skewed in the sort of the customer segment. So that's why we're trying to board many of these startups as many as possible, because we've received a strong response rate on some of the pilots that we've run upon Flenzies. And I think, as you say, it's we don't allow advertising on our platform. However, it's these sort of actionable opportunities, and I think that really sort of pierces through the veil of many of these pitch emails, and when they're presenting their suite of solutions, because a lot of people currently they simply don't have the time or the attention span to sort of look through these manifests and white papers, but if the actionable opportunities where you can simply click yes or no, which is something we focus on, that's the simplicity, almost like Tinder-esque, then we receive a much stronger hit rate on some of these pilot projects, some of these special deals to get their foot in the door of companies. So that's why we're trying to reach out to as many startups as possible, find out what their problems are, how if they're struggling, and how to get them to reach out to some of these users.
Yeah. Very interesting. Well, yes, because now the startups are the solution, and if you have a set of problems or issues that need to be solved, that you can show to the startups, they can go and pick the ones that really they can say something. So you have this like list of challenges, in a way, of requests from the industry. How does it work? So the client inputs a request. What kind of request is it? Like what is like a typical? It's not a typical. I guess you have 1,500 different requests, but what are they looking for? Improved efficiency, or some specific technical or technological issue? What are they really looking for?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if we're going to provide a typical post, because it's a very diverse, of course. But for example, just today, we've put out a request for someone seeking a reliable agent in the Bahamas. Particularly as many of these sort of rerouting and things have to be very dynamic, because there's so many daily disruption. We've also had people seeking new maritime booking systems, for example, or they have a supply of NK95 or FFP2 masks, which in the start we had strong demand for, trying to link together these platforms, because it's a big problem, because many of these hospitals and vendors, they're essentially fighting over the same supply, which is a big problem. So we're trying to sort of allocate that efficiently, but it's still very much in the works, and we're in beta, of course, continuous beta. So we thrive off feedback, and so that's why for beta we're making individual accounts indefinitely available for all users. because we're trying to find out what the main problems are, orient ourselves and adapt and you know, try to seek to solve those problems.
Nice.
So in that sense, we're not limiting ourselves to any specific type of request, but you know, very open and willing to help wherever we can.
Right. Yeah. Well, great. Sorry, I went very much into it because I'm really interested, and I see the huge potential that is for really establishing connections. There is so much potential of demand and supply to match, and before really you needed just to go out and walk, as we said in the beginning. Now we really can leverage this for the benefit of both sides. So that's great. Piloting beta, 1500 customers, demand and supply meeting on Flenzies, fantastic. Now, how are you financing the business? Are you fundraising? Are you bootstrapping? Whatever you can tell me, considering that we are in a public interview, so don't go too much into details.
Of course, we have you know, several investors behind us.
Cool.
One is you know, a freight forward alliance, who also you know, we're you know, in a good dialogue with. So this is some of our main stakeholders that we try to service, and you know, some of that is you know, tackling some of their daily disruptions and providing them with opportunities, and vice versa. I'm not sure if I can go too nitty gritty into the financials, but you know, we're fine for now. We're still in, you know, beta phase and continuous testing.
Yeah.
And we want to find, you know, what are our users' problems? How can we service them? And you know, once we get that down, we hit the hammer on the nail. Then we're going to be scaling and expanding. And
Exactly. Exactly.
I think it's still early days, of course.
Yeah. No, it's perfect. So you're comfortable with how you stand. You're not fundraising right now because you want to make sure that to define exactly the business model and how the product market fit work, so that then you have a product that you say, okay, we just put money into it, it explodes. So at that point you go and raise funds, which is the best way to do to start up, to grow a startup, if you have enough funds to get to that point. So fortunately, apparently you are in this position, and very lucky. But never say you're very lucky to a startup, because there is only a lot of good, strong work behind it, because you make your luck. Money doesn't fall in your lap usually, and if it does, you don't start a startup. You just go and have a great time or whatever. But so, well, great. I think that since when we met with the founders, Anders and some other founders that I met, things have changed, have evolved, and you're doing great. So, well, I look forward to the next steps, and everybody looks forward to next steps. Hopefully, another initiative in the industry to help startups develop more business, same as we are doing in a different way. But the idea is, let's develop more business for the startups, and we have to support the startups, being startups ourselves as well. But we need to support the startups, and in turn support the industry. Startups are really the lifeblood of innovation and of the future face of the industry. And I'm really very, very actively trying to push this message forward, because it's not anymore the time where, oh, we keep doing this as we've always done, because the bill of lading has been there for 300 years. Well, okay, but now it's changing. Okay, so wake up. Good. Thank you, Nicolai. It was a very nice chatting. I hope that this will be valuable for anyone who had the patience to listen to us till now. And good luck and stay safe with this in these times. Thank you, Nicolai.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye.